Hello, and welcome back to 950 Club Podcast, an anime and manga podcast. Today, we're going to have a Star Wars After Hours special. The first part is going to be Star Wars Visions. Now, the premise of Star Wars Visions is basically all these great anime studios making separate stories in the Star Wars universe. Pretty cool. And we have studios like Science SARU and Studio Trigger. Hey, for you anime fans, you got to check out this episode. And then for the second half of our After Hour special, we're going to finally talk about Andor. We're going to review the first 6 episodes of Andor. And yes, the whole 1950 Club's going to join in with Jamaal, Edwin, and yours truly, Jack. So sit back and relax and listen in to a great Star Wars After Hour special.
So the joint catch-up number 2. Hey, I don't know why it took me this long to get to this. Star Wars Visions.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
So it's been a year since I watched this.
I confess, I finally caught up too because
Yeah.
I saw the first 3 episodes. Then I'm like, okay, I got to finish the rest.
I blew through all of these. At first, I was like, I'm not going to watch all these.
Yeah.
But I ended up blowing through the entire anthology and being like, you guys got to watch this.
Yeah.
And it took you guys a while.
I didn't know
What to make of it?
what to make of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I had no idea. I'm like, Star Wars, and I'm like, I don't know about this.
Well, Star Wars has always had so many kind of Japanese influences in
Yeah.
it.
Especially Akira Kurosawa, one of his all-time favorite films, or one of the all-time best films, The Hidden Fortress. The story elements are very similar. The renegade princess, the reluctant hero, the 2 side characters, they're the point of view of the stories. The final story in Star Wars Visions, that's the only one where I felt like it was like The Hidden Fortress.
Yeah. Well, even like Darth Vader's design.
Yes. Samurai getup.
Yeah, Space Samurai. Yeah, very much so. And then Obi-Wan.
Wise sensei.
Yeah. And something that I've heard recently is that Lucas actually he had the same problem that he had with Alec Guinness. He wanted a Japanese actor to play Obi-Wan.
It was Toshio Mifune.
Yeah, and he declined. He's like, I don't know what this is. I'm not doing this.
Toshiro
Yeah.
Mifune is one of my all-time favorite actor, or probably my number 1 favorite actor.
Yeah, and just like Alec Guinness, it's like, all right, I'm here, but I'm not sure I want to be.
He didn't want to be.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, one and done, but they paid him enough to bring him back. But yeah, originally, so there's always been subtle or not so subtle Japanese influences in Star Wars.
Even Yoda, I would argue.
Yeah, so this is like them coming like full circle, where it's like, all right, you were influenced by Japanese film, and now you have influenced Japanese anime.
Yeah, and each episode is directed by top-tier directors. This Trigger one, the first
Animation
one,
studios, yeah.
Animation Studios. The Trigger one especially is the same director as Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill.
You can tell.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Yep.
Yeah, you can tell. That one is about the twins, right?
Yes. And Luke and Layla, if they were actually in conflict with each other.
Yeah,
That's what I
over
got.
the top.
Yeah.
That one is
Very
insane.
much so.
But the art was not like overstimulating because of the color scheme. Like you got to see the perspectives pretty good. And then how it's laid out between the battle itself and outer space. That was a nice gimme.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but
that episode was crazy.
it was crazy. But
what do you think, Jamal?
It's we just said that Jack likes the absurd.
He does.
He likes the chaos.
Yep.
He likes that sort of stuff. So again, like when I see something like that, I'm just like, all right, Jack,
It's like, I see you, Jack.
This is the Jack.
I
He
see you.
likes the chaos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's one
So-
of the best directors. And it was a whole slouch of pretty much different directors. The second Trigger one, the Elder one, that's from the director of Foolie Cooley. And Foolie Cooley is an early Gainax like staple, like how it pretty much zany slice of life elements come and fold and stuff. And that story it's directed kind of like Samurai Champloo of all things, kind of like a throwback Ronin type of movie.
You get a lot of that in this.
Yeah,
You get a lot of like.
and the studios are taking those liberties and like doing something a little bit different, even for Trigger.
So, which was your favorite one?
No. I want to ask Jack that first because he made a point. All right. Here, full disclosure: Jack has a fetish for Studio Trigger. Like he has an intense. His hatred for Comey mirrors his love for Studio. His love for Studio
Slander.
Trigger. I am slandering you.
Oh, shit.
So
I'm just a spectator in all this right now.
when he came out and told us that his favorite episode was not a Studio Trigger episode,
You didn't believe it.
no, I believe him, but I want him to get that out first because he's been itching to say this for a while.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what this
My
is.
favorite episode is the fourth episode, The Village Bride. And that one, a strong reason why I like it is because the hero is the same voice as Nobra and Raphtalia. Strong reason. But it's also the one where I'm like, I want this as a movie. Because it's about this married couple. They're giving up the village essentially to the bad guys. And,
I remember that one.
And this spectator, Ronan, she's like, no, this is stupid. This is a flawed plan of yours. And mind you, these stories are barely, not even 30 minutes. The longest one I think is like 31 or 32 minutes.
Well, she knew
I
that
think they're about 15, 20 minutes apiece.
Roughly, on average.
she knew that you couldn't trust the Empire.
Yeah, and this is like before. This is the prequel range where it showed the Roger rabbits. Roger.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite part of that episode too, where they got shot down. Roger.
That's always fun to watch.
They're the best robots to kill.
Those were the most annoying droids.
Yeah, I know. But that episode as well, like how they set up, like how we're describing how Star Wars is so influenced with Japanese cinema. We're talking about like samurai films, and that was like the only one where it felt like a samurai actually taking on all these robots.
Oh, from the kind of like the solo warrior.
Yeah. In the first episode too, that one and the Elder really remind me of Samurai Champloo of all things. Anime tied in though, that's the thing. Where this one, like Kurosawa, like this is a samurai film. Like, I loved it. And the studio that did that was Cinema Citrus, who also did Rising of Shield Hero.
Oh, okay.
And it's a different take. It's not exactly their style compared to Rising of Shield Hero. So
No, that animation style was very different.
yeah, and the landscapes were gorgeous because they're located on top of a cliff. The story itself, of course, like most of these stories, is little bubbles. Like you get a little gist of the plot and everything.
A little segment of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. That too, but more influenced with Japanese culture and folklore.
Definitely. It was Star Wars, but for me, a lot of the times it didn't feel like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It felt more like anime.
Yeah.
It felt more
Cinema,
like,
And I think that was my initial hesitance to it because I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be Star Wars just written in anime style. Are they taking a Star Wars story and just anime? Like, I didn't know what to make of it.
Mm-hmm.
And upon watching it, it was kind of like you said. I was just like, oh, okay. And they went by so quick.
Yeah.
They went by so quick that it was just, before I knew it, I was just like, oh, okay.
It's over. Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, and it had a weird like Fantasia type of thing, especially with the 5th and 6th episodes. The one episode where the robot looks like a Disney character, like straight out of Mickey Mouse.
It looked like you got the PlayStation 5. You remember that game that you got in the beginning with the little robot thing?
Or Horizon?
No. It's like the game that comes preloaded on the PlayStation 5 to kind of teach you about the different things about the PlayStation 5.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember what you're talking about.
Yeah. The design of it looked like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought of when I saw it.
So the art styles definitely differ in each episode too, and that throws you off too.
It didn't throw me off, but I get why it would throw you off.
In general, like for people that are just getting into it, it didn't.
Well, the art styles were so varied, like so varied from episode to episode. But not only that, it's like they don't fit into. It's almost like they sat down and said, "Here, do what you want."
Yeah, literally.
There's no there's no
repercussions.
no repercussions, no stipulations. It's like go and tell your own story, and that's what they did because they don't really use anybody who is an established.
No,
I think Jabba the Hutt is really the only one.
I believe
as far as established characters.
Okay, yeah.
They did Jabba in the singing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good call.
And everybody
Was
else.
Boba Fett in that episode as well?
I think so. I think
He
he
might
had
have
like
been.
cameo.
I think Jabba and Boba were the only ones.
Yeah.
And then Roger Rabbits, pretty much. Yeah.
The Roger robots.
Yes.
You keep calling them rabbits.
Oh, rabbits. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
They act like rabbits. And it's also, like we mentioned with all these studios, like, here, have no repercussions. It's almost like a experimental thing, too.
It was very much so. I felt like they were like, here, stretch your legs.
Yeah.
Was this a Disney Plus original?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's Star Wars Visions. And I know they talked about it. I remember them talking about it. And I'm like, all right, that looks cool. I'm excited for it. I remember watching it. I enjoyed them all. I enjoyed them all.
I enjoyed all of them too.
Yeah.
The second one was the rack episode was the weakest one, but it was fun. It was fun.
Well, I think it was meant to be fun. It wasn't meant to be like this isn't going to change Star Wars. This isn't going to be groundbreaking. It's just like we're going to tell a fun story about these fun characters within the Star Wars universe. Yeah. It's like,
It was like Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, like a very fun episode that you don't need to take seriously. Like most of the other ones.
It had a little heart in it.
Yeah.
It had a little heart in it because he's trying to break away from this.
Yeah.
This ragtag group of people. And what was it? Jabba's son or something? That was in the group. And he's like, it's time to come home. It's time to come home.
Yeah.
So
a little teen rebellion. Yeah.
But it was still good.
Yeah, I did like
and I think that was the only American studio too.
I did like that they were playing at like one of the pod race things.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. But I think that was the campiest.
That's what I mean.
Of
I
them
agree.
Compared to like the other ones, where just,
I agree.
We're talking about my favorite studios and stuff like that. SARU even. Yeah.
I think the little robot one, the little Disney robot one, was a throwback almost to not only to Disney but to Astro Boy
as well.
Yeah,
I got that
early
I
Japanese,
got that vibe
like
too.
yeah,
I got Astro Boy vibes.
Yeah, like very early Japanese, like 70s, like anime. Yeah, they're all very. If they're not, I wouldn't say dark, but definitely more serious in tone.
Yeah. And they treat it seriously. That's the other thing too. It's almost a quote unquote throwaway like thing for Disney, just a feature, but it's like no. This is something. It has substance.
Yeah, no. Well, you can tell that the studios. I think that the people who did this are Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
That's
like they were like, we get to play in the Star Wars universe. It's like it's Star Wars. It's just like that's
especially Trigger.
Yeah, it's just like. It's Star Wars.
It was an anime love song to Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree. Every episode.
Yeah.
Every episode was like, we love Star Wars. It's influenced us, and we wanna tell our own. And I think that's one of the things that made me uncomfortable, but definitely made it an experience that I wasn't expecting.
It was refreshing.
It was very, very different than what I was expecting. Because they did do their own takes. Most of them were very, very Japanese. Very, very, like, the influence was strong.
Okay.
The anime influence was strong.
Question for you.
Sure.
We've had extensive discussions about how you feel about the Star Wars Disney movies and how we feel about, like, the shows. And we know that the shows, like you've always said, they feel more like Star Wars than the movies. how did this feel in regards to that feeling of Star Wars to you?
Well, like I said, these didn't feel like Star Wars per se.
But it didn't feel like a slap in the face to it.
No, not at all.
Far from
not
it.
at all. I agree with Jack. Not at all.
Yeah.
It to me, like I said, it felt like they were going back to the Japanese roots of like the influences the things that had influenced Lucas into making Star Wars, and some of the themes. And as he studied Japanese film, you could tell he was influenced by it.
Right.
So this was anime that was influenced by Star Wars because they had been influenced by Star Wars.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was coming full circle, but there was never a moment where I felt like these people didn't respect or love Star Wars. Yeah, like these were people who wanted to do something because of their love for Star Wars. This wasn't just a job or an assignment that they had been given. This was like, we want to work on this.
Yeah, and plus with the early Disney Star Wars stuff, with the new trilogy, Rogue One, Solo, it's almost like they're trying to get in their footing. And Red Letter Media, they're one of my favorite critique shows, and they really go hammering. But they're fair. They're fair to most of the Star Wars films, especially Solo. They really like Solo, and
I enjoyed Solo.
Yeah, and Solo's great.
Ernie didn't.
I could, yeah.
But it seems like after that was all done, Visions was like the first one where they're like, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. And of course with Mando, let's backtrack a little bit. Like maybe we should do something more with the world. And Visions was more of the aspect of the appreciation of Star Wars. And that's why I felt was lacking with the new trilogy, the appreciation of film history. Like that was out the window because they wanted to do the Star Wars universe more than anything else.
Because with the prequel, especially,
I know, just Edwin has the biggest look on his face, like
especially with the Force Awakens, you can't make a movie that is a direct sequel to a movie and thematically and cinematically essentially reference that movie.
Exactly.
It's like,
I know. It's literally the original trilogy in one film.
well, you have to ask. You have to ask. Does the director like movies? Literally, no. I'm literally. I had to sit there and say, JJ, do you even like film?
I know.
Because most of the things that I've watched that I've enjoyed, you can tell that the person making it has a love of film. They have a love of film, they have a love of cinema, and you can see those aspects like in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that Lucas had an appreciation for all the things, whether it be the Wizard of Oz,
Citizen Kane,
whether it be Citizen Kane, whether it be like Japanese cinema,
yes,
whether it be German expressionism, all the things that he went to film school and watched, you can see them in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Even the prequels, yeah.
You can watch Star Wars and see that this is a film that was made by somebody that studied film.
Yes.
You watch The Force Awakens and you're like, you had a meeting where you watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like you sat in a room and you watched Star Wars a bunch of times and you said, all right, this is a good scene. This is a good story beat. This is a good story beat. And then you went and you repeated the story beats. Not the way Lucas did where he said history repeats itself. No, you did the same story beats.
Verbatim. Yep.
Visions does not do that at all.
Oh.
Visions throws out the playbook and says, we love Japanese folklore, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what plays out.
Even the one early pioneer for anime in more of the pop media is pop culture media is Matrix. The Matrix said Animatrix, and similar thing. Like we'll just have like our own influences on display with the Matrix universe. You got to take those liberties sometimes, and I feel like that's a dying art. And Visions is a refreshing, like, let's bring back.
What drives you, what inspires you, and what drives you as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
If you forget about
Or a writer. Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
anything, in Visions, I feel that's fully on display.
Mm-hmm.
In the sequels, I don't feel that any of that is on display at all.
It's
whatsoever.
deconstructive. It's not progressive whatsoever.
You know, it's point and click movie making, and at its worst.
Yep. Agreed.
And I will end my rant there because these guys know that I can go on for hours.
It's like a beyond proportion of what we can record for an after hours.
We're going to save that for our
discussion of Andor.
Our rant episode.
Oh, yeah.
Where we rant on things.
Just rant.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
After rants.
All right. So moving on, but staying with our Disney Plus theme, we're going to be talking about Andor.
Which, as we're currently recording, we're halfway through the season.
Yeah, feels like,
Episode 6 just wrapped up.
And I feel like this is like a midway point. Like they're going to take a little break.
I don't
think they're going to take a break.
They're having 12 episodes. I know that.
I don't think there's a mid-season break.
Okay.
At least I haven't heard.
Because I saw it just this past week, and this week was the 6th episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And like I was telling the guys, it felt like a finale. Every 3 episodes is an arc, essentially.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. Because he always seems to run away at the end of the arc.
Even at the end of this last episode, he's like, it's time for me to go.
He's like, bye.
Bye, Fantasia.
Pretty much. He's like,
he did the Len.
well, he does the. That is an inside joke for the 950 Club.
Just think of like the Queen Wave.
We'll give a shout out to Jagbags.
Jagbags, the podcast.
Yes, the podcast. An awesome podcast. Oh, man.
So Len Andor.
So Andor essentially, Cassian essentially said, peace out, snitches.
Yes.
I'm out. I got mine. I'm out.
He told him,
Yeah.
I'm in this for the money.
Yeah.
And once it's over with, I'm out of here.
He's like, I got paid.
I always like those in-between dialogues when he's like trying to like defend himself. He reminds me of a lot of his character in Narcos. Kind of like that swagger, like that. No. I have this.
No. See, in Narcos, he was different.
He was a villain, don't get me wrong, but only in those in-between exchanges once he's defending himself. Because the whole time I'm thinking of him like a hero. Like not even close to being a thief.
I don't even think he considers himself a hero.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So I don't get hero vibe. At most, he's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
At most.
I don't even think he feels that way about himself.
I think he's just a dude trying to survive.
I agree. I get a lot of like.
Well, terminology for me was wrong. I meant more like protagonist. You're following along with the protagonist.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're flawed. Good, righteous ones and flawed ones.
More like I get more like Katniss Everdeen vibes from him. Yeah. Like I don't have time for your nonsense. Yeah. I'm just trying.
No time
to
for
survive.
romance. No time for politics.
Yeah. It's like, look, I don't have time for this. I'm trying to put food on the table.
Well, not necessarily. Because I think he had a thing for Cinta.
I can see that.
I think he had a thing for because even Vel, when he's kind of looking at her, she's like, "Stay focused."
Yeah.
Like I think if Cinta was there might have been a chance he might have stayed around a little more.
Who knows? No.
But she was off doing her own thing during that, and he's just like, "Meh, bye."
Yeah.
Just like how he leaves her.
He's like,
finales.
"Hey, she's got somebody. Stop looking." So he definitely has that kind of like Playboy vibe.
Because he had that in the first episode when the police kind of rolled up on him because the little hostess lady thing was just kind of like flirting with him a little bit.
Yeah,
he knew
the cops hated that.
They got jealous,
and that's when the whole thing
set
off.
He wasn't even playing the game. That's how good he was at the game.
Yeah.
Oh no, there was something to it. But he just wanted the information.
Yeah, get information on
his sister. He was smooth talking her.
Yeah.
So he can get what he wanted.
Yeah.
And I get it. And he wasn't looking for action at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking to find his sister.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good first episode. I will admit that it's different first episode in general for a lot of Star Wars shows.
Well, this show is not I don't think this show's trying to be a Star Wars show.
Far from it.
I think this show is trying to be a show.
Yeah.
And that what I mean by that is that it's trying to tell a story that just happens to happen within the Star Wars universe. But I feel that this is a show that could stand on its own without any like need for it to be in the Star Wars universe.
Well, the first thing I noticed with the show, and it kind of got annoying for me. Like initially, it was like, "What the heck is the deal? Like, am I imagining this?" It was a little bit too British. A lot of British actors thrown in there, and I'm like, it's not exactly Imperials. It's definitely of the world and stuff. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I look at the directors. The director of the first three films did the Sherlock Holmes show and a few other BBC dramas. And the second half was by a woman, and she did Jane Eyre, BBC dramas. I'm like, that's fascinating. Like, I had to think more and more of British dramas and stuff. And British dramas are really keen on environment. They make you build into the world with the characters' interactions and stuff. And dialogue, too. Dialogue is very important for a lot of British shows. So overall, I'm like, that's the ticket.
I can see where you got that from.
No, because it became really noticeable, especially when we showed.
It was very noticeable.
Yeah, especially in the guard station thing where you have that really Scottish officer guy. I'm like, that's very Scottish.
It was very noticeable.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the original Star Wars too, because some of it was filmed at a studio in London.
Yes, and the new movies as well. A lot of places
so
in
you
England.
get like those are the actors that are around.
Precisely.
But it's not like Star Wars doesn't have a history of this, like with the Emperor.
No,
and
and
with
that's
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Correct. And that's what I was trying to tie in, because they were showing people around the world. Like, you used to have every other third character, though, British as heck. I'm like, that's fascinating. It's like a little bit off the scales a little bit, because the main
but what I did like is that the children on that planet had a more South American vibe to them.
And even when in the Highlands, remind me a lot of Argentina, Latin America in general. And
that was almost a cross between Celtic and Argentinian.
Yeah, very much so.
So it was very like,
And the kids in the village as well remind me of this. Remind me of Horizon Zero Dawn.
I can see that.
And then with the first episode as well, when he's going in the club, because I just saw Edge Runners and stuff. I'm like, oh no, it's going a cyberpunk route. Oh no.
Well, for me, that felt more like a Mass Effect scene.
That and Blade Runner even. So,
Well, I mean, you can definitely see the influences. Like, I loved the fact that I think it's the 5th episode feels very much like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of like
it's stripped down.
Yeah, like the visuals of Coruscant.
Yeah.
Just have that almost like opposite feel of Star Wars.
Very much so.
And I think, I was thinking about this when Jamaal had brought up that he wanted to talk about Andor, where the Mandalorian brings back kind of like that cowboy spaghetti western feel.
Yes.
It's almost like Cowboy
of
Bebop.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Well, like the original Star Wars, it brings that feel back, and I think a lot of people like that. But I think what a lot of people tend to forget is when you look at Star Wars, you see the western aspect or you see the fantasy aspect.
Or the samurai.
And then Andor goes right in the middle and says, hey, you forgot that Star Wars is science fiction. And so it gives you that feel of 2001, and you're pulled in, but at the same time, it feels like it has like all these different feels to it.
Yeah.
Like the ethnicity of the different characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
The different cultural aspects that you're seeing from the different worlds.
It was very diverse without being heavy-handed.
No.
Very much
It
so.
wasn't.
I agree.
It wasn't like
You're not beat
it wasn't
over the head
like
with
the
it.
movies where it's just we're going to put this in here. We're going to plug and play. It felt like
More subtle.
more subtle. It's like you said with the kid, like those kids, they felt like that society.
Yeah.
Like, and then these different places that they go to, they had a different feel, and that different diverse cast. It was like it made it feel like an actual world that you're stepping into.
The tribes had intelligible languages, and you couldn't understand them either way.
But it also makes you feel how far-reaching the Empire is.
Yes.
Because it's like, here they are in a place where they're people who are speaking a different language. They look different, but you can tell that they come from the same cultural background. And here's the Empire killing them.
Yeah.
And then here's somewhere else where the Empire's taking their land and killing their culture.
Yeah, and they're trying to do a ceremony and stuff, and they kind of remind me of Mongolian culture in a weird way, especially with the the coats and stuff.
And I don't know about you guys, but this show feels more like a World War II show.
Yeah, war in general.
Like I get it feels like a show, almost like a historical fiction show.
Yeah,
like set during World War II.
That.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, especially with like the train heist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the adventure aspects. Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett did it, and I thought that was one of my favorite episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
This show does it, and I think this show is even better.
Yeah.
Pulls it off even
better.
And as I was mentioning, how it's shaped with BBC directors and their influence as well, it builds to that final episode, to the 6th episode, where the action happens.
Yeah.
Because pretty much like 85-95% of it at that point was mostly dialogue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue. Mm-hmm. There's a little action here. Well, no, because he had that action with Lucian.
Yeah, and the murder as well, technically. Yeah.
The murder. So it's like you said, like every 3 episodes is like a little arc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it builds your climax.
Yeah.
You have your introduction to new characters and stuff, and I like that it's not all action.
Yes.
Because you have the character conflicts as well. You get the tension, you get the conflicts, but they're quiet, simmering conflicts that grow and then explode.
Yeah, even the scene where he meets up with the team, the rebellion team, the first
that was all conflict.
You feel like something's going to happen in that camp at any point.
Well, yeah, it's almost explosive.
Yeah.
The tension is almost explosive.
And he has like 2 or 3 foils, even the head honcho.
It explodes.
Yeah.
It explodes in that 6th episode
Yeah.
when a dude's like, let's just split the money. And he's just like,
this dude's going to kill me. Yeah, because he knew.
A motherfucking Diego Luna, bitches.
Well, he knew. Cassian knew.
Yeah.
The minute he told him, oh, I don't have a brother. This dude's a no good fucking liar.
I have a sister.
I'm going to pilot this ship, and the minute we get where we're going, this motherfucker's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So he says, you know what? I'm not going to let you shoot me in the back. I'm going to take a preemptive, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like he gave up. It was like one of those things where, you dropped your card a little too soon.
No, he thought because Cassian came out and he was just like, look,
getting what he wanted.
If you all want to know, I am here for the money, and that is it. And that made dude think, you know what? All right, maybe if this dude is here for the money, maybe we could
we get
over
out.
on these two. We came up the same way. He'll understand. And Diego Luna had a moment where he's just kind of like, this dude is gonna screw me.
Yeah.
But I think he also felt a little betrayed for the kid.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he felt a little betrayed for the kid, and this kid really bought into this.
Yeah, because
he really believed in you.
The confidant, he was kind of grooming him and teaching him ways to becoming a better, rebel in a weird way. And he's, he had a harsh life. You can tell from his background, similar to Cassian, but he turned out to be a total douche at the end.
And it's like you said, he was a true believer.
Yeah.
This kid's trying to write his manifesto and all that. He was a true believer. He had a lot of heart.
And that's also reminding me of.
And he thought that the guy was
Right.
on his side.
And it reminded me a lot of the Cuban Revolution too. A little overtones.
Well, that's the thing. They're really trying hard to reference other things besides Star Wars.
Yeah, the war aspect, like you said, the science fiction aspect, right down the middle.
Yeah. Well, people living their everyday lives, and the Empire just kind of coming in, shitting all over them.
Even Stellan Skarsgård, how he has to pretty much fund a rebellion, hoops and layers.
his double life.
Yeah. Well, also kind of the hierarchy class too, with the senator as well.
I love the senator scenes.
Wow, really?
I love those scenes
Wow.
because you can see that she's the only one that cares.
And she knows what's going on.
Nobody else cares.
Yeah.
Her family
She
does
knows.
not care.
And when she's doing that hearing as well.
Well, there's little examples of things like she walks in and her husband's having a dinner.
Yeah.
And she's like, dude, she's like, I'm not up for this. I just did this.
And the guests he invites.
The guests he invites, he's like, why are you hanging with those dudes? Those dudes are shooting me in the back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
It's like, man, lady, you picked the wrong guy to marry. I'm sure you married him
Sham-
because you
Sham
thought he was
would.
pretty. He was a pretty boy.
Or political
but-
reasons. Who knows?
Yeah, true. You're not wrong. Power, whatever. Maybe his family was wealthy or whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? But at the same time, you can see that they don't care what's happening in the rest of the universe. They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
And she
what
sees these
happened
people
eventually,
suffering.
Yeah.
And I don't think what they don't understand is that at some point she might be taken out in the back and shot, and you'd be right there next to her, crying your eyes out. Mom, we're sorry. And what is she gonna do?
Yeah. True.
Yeah, she's gonna be the only thing she's gonna think is she's like, sorry, I got caught and I couldn't save the rest of the galaxy. Not only my family, but the rest of the galaxy.
Yeah. And it's so weird with the show too, like how already halfway through, like we're getting another 6 episodes. How already I generally liked Rogue One, but a good half, maybe less, just about half, don't really like it or don't care for it. I think it redeems that movie or that aspect of the new movies in a way. And of course with Andor, with Diego Luna's performance, yeah.
Well, this show serves as a prequel to Rogue One.
Yeah, and then ties into later with Obi-Wan as well, how it redeemed the prequels. So,
well, I don't think that this show redeems any of the Star Wars movies.
Well, the new ones, yeah.
What I think it does is it gives Star Wars
was missing.
I think that's what Rogue One did as well.
Yes.
I mean, I think Rogue One was actually a film.
Yeah.
Where the sequels,
like we bashed. It's not.
I mean, they're films because they were made by
by clicking them.
Well, no. What I mean is that actors from the Screen Actors Guild and like visual effects artists and all these different people work to make those movies. But where this show, it's like where Rogue One, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it.
It's an action movie.
It is, but they're trying to make something that's visually and thematically different. A
little bit away from the Skywalker.
Not only away from the Skywalker, but away from and for all its faults, I think that in what was the second movie, The Last Jedi?
Oh yeah.
He tries to add more of a complexity,
a meta breakdown.
He tries to apply a more complex narrative structure to Star Wars. He fails miserably.
Yeah.
But I think that's what
Andor?
No, Rogue One was trying to do to Star Wars. Add more of a complexity and not just have it be black and white, but you have these people who are willing to do things to try to change, to try to win.
Yeah.
Where the heroes in Star Wars don't have to always make those choices. They get to be the good guys.
Right.
And this is the place where the people in Rogue One don't get to be good guys.
And it's like we said before.
They got to do a little dirt to get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And almost like our discussion with Akame Got Killed, like every rebellion, there's no bloodless revolution. You'd be lucky to have one. You got to have your hands dirty. You got to have literally the guerrillas that are willing to fight.
Well, that show's kind of a bait and switch too, because
it's a big one.
They say you're watching a show about assassins, but really they've just been labeled assassins by the society that they're trying to overthrow, which has committed far worse atrocities than they ever had.
Yep.
And it's similar to this.
Yep.
Because you have Cassian, who I'm sure is going to kill a whole lot more people.
Oh yeah.
Before this is through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Without hesitation.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about him.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about it. He's just like, you know what? This person has to go. I'm going to take him down.
Yeah.
I'm going to take him down because he knows. I can't. If I leave this person alive, they're going to come back. Like even the little the kid that screwed up the thing that went back home to mommy.
Oh, the senator's
the robot?
Kid?
No, the dude, the little,
the senator's kid or the general's kid.
The kid that what was his name? Was it Cyril or something? Who was the one that was chasing after Cassian after he killed the cops? and then he bought.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
and
Yeah.
then
Oh, the guard.
Yeah, and then they botched that whole thing trying to get
Yeah.
him, and he got let go and went back home to mommy.
Yeah.
And mommy's trying to get him a job with uncle.
Speaking of Dune, Kyle MacLachlan. He looks like Kyle MacLachlan.
I can see it a little bit.
Yeah, just the nose and the eyes.
Yeah. I can see it a little bit. Yeah.
And from Twin Peaks, too.
Yeah. Like, I knew that dude was going to be trouble.
Yeah, he just...
It's like...
I did too. You know
the type.
Could tell you know the type.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he wasn't built for. He was the type of guy that wanted the position and the power, but he didn't. He had no idea. How
Even
to
the
maneuver in those
superiors were like,
situations.
"Hey, these cops that died, they kind of had it coming."
Well, I like that. I like
Well,
that
they
before the
knew.
guy leaves,
Yeah.
before his supervisor leaves, he lays it out for him.
Yeah.
He's like, "Look, man, we have a pleasure district.
Yeah,
We're not supposed to have that shit.
yeah,
These guys were at a whorehouse. They harassed somebody.
Mhm.
That person killed them.
the end.
This is all on the wrong side of bad."
Yeah.
So what you do is you cut your losses and you don't report shit.
Yeah,
But this guy got it into his head that somebody did something, somebody killed two of their officers. It's like you're breaking so many regulations,
Right.
yeah.
and you want to focus on something that you're
wanna be
doing
the good
You're
scouts.
going to bring this whole
thing
thing
crashing down, and that's what he did
for these two officers
Yeah, and that's
that
what he
were
does.
in the wrong.
Yeah, and that's what he does.
And Cassian didn't
He's
even
like, it was
aim to kill. It was an accident.
too bad. It was two bad dudes
cops
who
in
got
the
pissed.
wrong place,
Yeah,
got mad, ended up getting killed.
yeah,
You have government issued weapons that are now gone
yeah.
because these idiots got killed trying to deal with this dude, and you want to go after him.
It's like, this is not
You
going to end
are
well.
turning a town upside down trying to get this dude,
Blowing shit up.
and you didn't get him.
And he had to go through pretty much a migrant field. That hey, this is
At
political.
every turn, they're telling him, "Don't do this."
Yep,
Yeah,
They, like you said, they laid it out for him. He's
Mhm.
like, "I'm gonna do it anyway."
yeah.
No, he's trying to be a good
Burn
scout.
to the ground,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
even at the end of episode 6, you see him just still obsessing over Cassian, and you just know this dude's gonna get involved again somehow.
He's not. A good,
Oh, yeah.
he's
you
not.
know
a
he's
good
gonna get
character.
involved again somehow, and it's just like, dude, let it go. But he's that entitled kid that, like, you were happy to see him get his comeuppance. You wanted to see that thing blow up in his face,
And it did.
and it did.
Yep.
You
Oh my
wanted to see
God,
blow
it
up in
was
his face, and
so-
it did.
Yeah.
It was so epic.
Yeah, even the superiors that probably would have fired the head guy, they fired him. So I was like,
Yeah, because they told him, leave it alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
They told him, leave this alone.
And dude was like, I wasn't even here. And he's like, that's probably part of the problem. And he's like,
Because
Sure.
they kept telling, don't do it.
yeah,
Once he went into the city, they said, don't do this. Pull out.
well, even
But-
before then,
Yeah.
every single person on their staff was like, dude, we don't get paid enough to care about
Right.
this. We
Yeah, just
really
like,
don't.
it's
It's
commentary.
like two
Yep.
assholes
Yeah.
got themselves killed by doing asshole things, and now you want to turn everything upside down, and there's a consequence to that. Everybody was copacetic with getting paid for doing the bare minimum.
Except like the one like Irish dude that kind of like
that's the Scottish guy. He
That
was
guy
super.
was nuts.
that
super-
dude was nut.
Yeah.
He was
Exactly.
nuts.
That dude was nut. That's not the guy you want to listen to because he was off the hinges. He was off the hinges.
Yeah.
A
That
little gun
dude-
heavy. Yep.
That dude is one of the dudes that wants to just rule with his heavy hand. I'm the authority. Whatever I say, go.
Yeah.
My men are ready to go as far as they want. And it was not going to happen.
Yeah. Even that health organization thing, that whole sequence, like I didn't really get, like that was kind of the weaker parts, but it had a purpose. It showed like the system kind of like questioning itself.
The health organization?
Well, that lady with the white getup, all white getup, with that council room.
Oh, you're talking about
Those are spies.
Yeah.
Spies. Okay. I thought they said something with health, like
No.
No. They said
a burrow, something.
no.
Like
They said they said something about health in one episode.
the protocol.
Yeah.
They did say something about health, but then the head dude was like, "Do you know what this organization really is?"
Yeah.
We say we're about health, but we're actually this.
Yeah.
And so like she was the one that was like, she's another one that's like pushing because she knows she's like, there's something big that's about to happen.
Yeah.
But she's different than the other dude.
Yeah.
Because the other dude's going
The other dude
first.
is by the book.
Yeah.
He's just like, whatever. She's like,
No.
they're too random and too spread out for this to be random.
Yeah.
Like, they are up. There's something going on, and you all are covering something up to prevent me from connecting the dots for this.
Yeah.
And that's what she is.
It's her gut.
Yeah.
She has a gut feeling.
Yeah.
She sees a pattern in the chaos.
Through the Empire and the Rebellion. Yeah.
She sees a pattern in the chaos. And the guys who are happy with the status quo are not letting, like, they're like, this new chick, why is she giving me a hard time? Why is she trying to step on my toes? And it's because she sees something that they don't, and then it blows up in their face.
Yeah.
Because she goes to the dude and she's like, well, aren't you going to give me my request?
It's like,
And
no.
he's like, no. And she's like, well, I'm asking for a second time. He's like, yeah, for a second time, no. I don't care.
Yep.
You're not getting it.
Yep.
So like she sees something that's going on, and to the point where she's starting to question herself, and you know her subordinate or whatever, the person she works with, is like, no, you're right. There's something going on here.
Yeah.
You need to continue digging deeper.
But the other people in the organization have become so comfortable and complacent
Exactly.
that they're like, meh, we don't have to worry about this.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is not what you're talking about. But I see all kinds of problems. And that's one of the things that I love about this show. There's problems everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's like
Everywhere.
But
the personality.
even the rebellion, has like flaws too, mainly because of the structure.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
I hated that dude in what was his name? Tim or whatever, the boyfriend that snitched on
Oh,
Cassian.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a throwaway. He died.
I hated that dude so much.
he was one of the worst. I think he was one of the worst things of the show for me
Me too.
because
He was so bland too.
But that he was.
He was such a lame.
Yeah.
It's like he loves this girl.
Yeah.
Mostly because she's like the only one around.
The only hot one around.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows she's into shady stuff.
Yeah.
But he chooses not to see it.
Yeah.
He knows she's into shady stuff. He chooses
Except
not to see it. Except when Cassian comes in
and he sees them as a threat.
And he sees Cassian as a threat.
He sees Cassian as a threat.
He sees
to
them
his
talking.
Romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he sees them talking, and I guess they like touched hands or something. Yeah. And he's just like, because he's so obsessed with this lady. Now, that is something that as a woman, I'd be like, why are you following me around?
That technically is more
like that was very obsessive and very creepy for him to be following her around just because he had a thing about Cassian, who he was supposedly friends with.
Does she see him? Does she see him following her
No.
around? No.
She doesn't
she doesn't
see him.
him.
But she figures out after, because she's like, once the fuzz come up on Cassian, she's looking at him like, did you
do something?
Did you tell? All because he saw them talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the last second, he wants to redeem himself, like, get your hands off of her, and gets killed. His whole character just sucked.
He sucked.
He sucked.
For me, that was one of the weak. I get it. I got it. I really did. I got it. But for me, that was one of the weakest things.
He was a simp.
Yeah.
He was a simp.
He's just whatever.
And he blew everything up because he was upset, because he was insecure about his girl, who's already doing dirt. And Cassian does dirt. Both of these people do dirt. And you have relationships with them. And then, you get upset when they combine together. Why are you pretending not to see? And that was another one of those things.
This was a woman that this guy could obviously not handle.
Yeah.
You cannot handle this. She does dirt. She
does what she wants to do.
That's one of the things that this guy was. It's like, you do not need to be with someone like this if this is how you're going to behave.
Yeah, people.
This girl is a whirlwind. Mm-hmm. She's going to come in to your life, and you're going to have a lot of great sex, and then she's going to float out of your life, and that's going to be it. Mm. Or you're just boring enough and offer enough stability where she feels like she can be safe with you, and you're misreading everything, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I think that's more of what is actually going on.
She didn't even cry from when he died. It's like, yeah.
No, she did.
No, she
was
did.
upset.
She was upset.
Yeah,
she was upset.
She was legitimately
upset. I mean, but
That was me not crying.
as
There you go.
anybody would, you see somebody that you know that you were. She had feelings for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, she went back to him at the end of the night. She was with him.
Well.
She wasn't with anybody else.
Yeah, but he
And that's
wasn't.
the thing where I'm
he
like,
wasn't satisfied.
see, that's the thing what upset me. I'm like, see, she came back to you. She didn't go to Andor.
Right.
She's not in bed with Andor.
Oh, no.
She's here with you.
And Andor has his own things, too.
And that's one of the things.
So you could tell that her and Andor had a thing.
I'm
before.
sure.
Just a
Because-
thing. Yeah.
Because he's a playboy.
Yeah.
So you could tell they had a thing before,
Well,
but
it's not only that-
she made it very clear
it's not only
that there's nothing that will ever go on between them again.
I don't think it's only that he's a playboy. I also think it's like he's somebody who is gonna have his go pack.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta get out of town. I done messed some shit up, or the Empire is after my parents again, so we gotta go.
Yep.
So it's like grab the comfort that you can when you can, because you never know how long this is going to last. So he doesn't have very good foundation, and this is not somebody who's going to have those kinds of relationships with most people.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, this is not somebody who's going to be like Derpy Dan.
No. Well, and that's a genius thing of the first 3 episodes as well. You see how they build up his his quote unquote origin story. 3 episodes long. You think it would be like a quick little 5-minute preview? No. They do it in a sense of like seeing his actual new adopted family.
Well, because there are things in his origin story that reflect what's going on now.
Yes,
There's kind of like an
yes.
interplay
Yes.
between those.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how instead of showing him running away, because what they could have done is they could have done 3 parts of them as a kid and then 3 parts, but they combine those 2
Right.
to tell you one story. But you get the point that Cassian does not stick around.
No.
Whether it's by his choice or not, Cassian's not going to be anywhere for long.
Literally as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's
separated
like you
from
said,
the-
we're not getting a whole season of one big origin story.
No.
It's like, all right, this is where this dude came from. You got the story. We're moving forward.
Yeah.
And he's missed in the first dialogue he shares. He's looking for his sister. Okay.
Well, and that's how I knew that this wasn't the end of the show.
Yeah.
Because he started off with, this is all about him finding his sister. And we're 6 episodes in, and he may have gotten tied into this rebellion, but his thing is, I just wanted money to get out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were coming after me.
Yeah.
I agreed to do this because I was supposed to get my 200,000 credits or whatever so I can get out of town so I can continue on and find my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. And he said, you know what? I'm so sad that this kid died. Here, I'm leaving. And he was so cold-hearted about it, too.
Yeah.
And it that's what makes him such a complex character, because it's like you want to root for him, but at the same time, he's just so cold.
Well, you know that he feels,
Yeah.
but he knows that feelings,
It's going to tie him down and slow him down.
Stall
Yeah.
for sure.
because he knows at a certain time he has to make a choice.
Yes.
And he cannot let emotions affect that choice. It has to be a cold calculation. Like when he kills that guy, well, part of it is like you said, he was upset about the boy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's like, this motherfucker's either going to kill me or he's going to kill these people.
Team, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not going to let that happen. And so he's like, no, he kills him. There's no hesitation. There's no like,
No.
I'm going to play this out and maybe escape later. He's like, I'm killing the dude before he kills me.
Yeah.
And you see that calculation a few times. And I'm sure you're going to see it a few more
Oh, yeah.
before the show is over.
This dude is going to have a trail of blood behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows if he meets up again with the Stalin Sarsgaard again. I'm curious.
have to.
Yeah, it's a curious place. It's actually my favorite performance of his. I'm not too crazy about him, to be honest, but he did pretty good.
Well,
in the
this
show.
is way better than the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, that too. And he's charming in the Thor movies, but it's like,
Yeah. Well, he's being used to, his acting skills are being used to a much more like, I do like the rough and tumble. I like how he's on the ship and he has that moment where he he puts on the clothes and then he has to remember
Yes, the
how to
motions.
be that
Be
character.
part of the city.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I have to be this person now.
Yeah.
So he goes through it and he's like, ha 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 ha. It's like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And I
It's
like
really
that
good.
was
It's Spy 101. Yeah.
that was a really interesting moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, like it has like things packaged in. You'd be surprised. It's one of those shows that it's being praised pretty good. It's not like overwhelming compared to Mando at the moment.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, it should be. And it's probably one of the best shows I've seen in a long time, up to Mando. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it continues with the level of quality,
Yeah.
I would think Emmy.
And no shame that Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's fun.
I don't think this is going to get what do you mean by Emmy?
Like
Like,
an Emmy nomination. I don't
in
think Emmy
what?
winning, like special effects,
Okay.
performances.
I can see that.
Yeah, direction.
I don't think
yeah.
it's going to get anything for performances.
It might
Shame,
not, but
shame.
I think it
I think it's worthy of it, but they don't really give stuff
I
to
have a
that.
soft spot for Diego Luna. I always liked him since Y2 Mat Tambien. So, yeah.
I like Diego Luna. He's
yeah,
a good
and
actor.
I think that this I think his performance in this, but the direction, the writing,
It's a very good show. If it continues, it's going to be a top 5 Disney Plus show
yeah.
without
But
question.
I think this is I think this is like cable. Like I think this is like HBO quality.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a quality show.
Yeah.
And it's like we said about The Mandalorian. This is just a quality show in general.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy
No,
this.
yeah.
As long as you can get into this story
And I hope that going forward with the Star Wars shows, they remember this, that they can bring to bear this level of production and this level of writing and this kind of script to future Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
And that it becomes kind of like, man, I want to watch a Star Wars show.
Yeah.
You know,
This is it.
regardless of whether you're a fan of the show and regardless of whether, like, oh, that's campy or that's Jedi or that's whatever. But like, no, like that, like this is some serious shit.
I think in the same way that you said in the Liqueurs Recoil review, and that how they built that trust in you
Yeah.
to whatever they decide to do moving forward.
You're going to follow them.
You're going to
Yeah.
follow it. I feel the same way about this Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all of their Disney Plus Star Wars stuff has been good.
I think so.
It's been good. Like, I know we've had our issues with Boba Fett, but it wasn't bad at all.
At the end of the day, that
It
was
was
all,
still
yeah.
good and enjoyable.
At the end of the day, that was all
So-
planning because they got kind of scared.
There's things that went into it.
Well,
but
we all knew that what's that actress? The issues with that actress.
yeah, there was
We don't know if that caused scheduling issues
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know about that.
in the production.
Oh, her,
of-
yeah.
there
I know
was
what you're talking
that, and then there was
Wasn't he doing something else?
there was
some scheduling
the
thing.
MMA
the scheduling
Curso,
thing.
or what's her name?
Her Gina
Carano.
Carano.
Gina Carano. After
Correct.
she got in all of that kind of killed their way of what were they going to call it, the series that they were going to spin off with her. That I think that was supposed to be before Boba Fett,
There you go. That explains it.
and because they were setting that up coming out of Mando,
Yeah.
and they announced that they were going to do something with her in that force, the Space Force thing.
That's
But
right.
After
Yeah.
she got involved in all of that MAGA nonsense.
Yep.
And she's making bad Ben Shapiro movies now. She is. Ernie said he watched one of them and it was awful.
Oh man.
Just to get a good laugh. But
And I bet you $1,000,000 Ernie likes this show.
Ernie likes all this stuff. Like, shout out to Ernie.
Yep.
He's a good dude. We love Ernie. And him and Derek and Jack are one day going to spin off the 950 Club into a cinema podcast. That is my goal, but that's another thing. But once she screwed up and was like, Disney's like, we got to cut ties with you.
Yeah.
I think they fast forwarded Boba Fett.
Yeah. And
they
it suffered.
kinda-
It suffered for it.
because of it.
It really did, because I think that could have been something really special, because
Yeah.
it had elements that could have been really special.
And people were looking forward to seeing Boba Fett.
in
Yeah,
general.
I think Filoni, and I heard these criticisms leveled at the show. I think that his Clone Wars, I think there are moments when he tries to tie these shows way too much into the Clone Wars. I liked it as a fan, but I thought that was the moments, some of the moments with Cad Bane, I'm like, I'm not sure that they worked.
I get it.
With Tamara Pierce's acting, there were moments where I'm like, but I blame that more on the script than anything else. Some of the dialogue, because even with Fennec, it was like, oh man, Fennec. And then the way they had the Mandalorian kind of steal the show.
Yeah.
For a moment, I was like, ugh. But they kind of, for me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, that the Rancor kind of like the Rancor stop motion stuff, that kind of stole the show. And I was like a little kid again watching Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. This is awesome. Yeah. So, yeah. But Andor, blows the quality of Andor, I think, kind of blows both of those shows out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is saying something. But I think that there's room for all of it. The same way Marvel has its totally different shows. I think that there's room for all of it. And I think that the Mandalorian should keep going. But I would be careful to stop killing off the characters and then trying to bring them back as androids. Because I'm like, you can only do that so many times before it becomes kind of like, like bringing off, what's his face, Timothy Oliphant as the sheriff. I'm like, why kill him in the first place?
Yeah.
Why? Don't stop killing people and then bringing them back. It's like that only works so many times.
Even Andor is technically that case. So.
You don't want to get to the point.
It's a prequel.
You don't want to get to the point of killing people off and bringing them back, because then people don't really trust that anybody's dead.
Yeah.
And then you get yourself in a conundrum when you really need to kill somebody.
Yeah, when you really leave them dead, people get mad at you. People will get mad and be like, why did you kill him? Why are they dead? You're not bringing them back? I like that character. Bring them back. And they're like, no, we're not bringing them back. Well, why? You brought back these 50 other characters, so why can't you bring back the character that I like? So it sets up a conflict where, like, if you say this person is dead and you commit to that and you walk away, then people are like, damn, those are the stakes.
Yeah.
But when you continuously... Like, if you're like, man, Timothy Oliphant is really awesome as an actor, and he was really awesome as this character, and we don't want to lose this character, well, then don't kill him.
Yeah.
Don't kill him.
Just because the Star Wars galaxy allows you to go the comic book route where it's like, you can bring them back if you want to bring them back, it doesn't always mean that you should.
Yeah.
Oh, agreed.
Save that.
Yeah, like, I thought that was like a weak point for them. I was like, yeah. But Andor, I think, is exceptional. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to see what direction they go in. I'm interested to see what happens to everybody on the show. There's usually not a show that has this many characters that I care about all of them.
Yeah.
Or at least where I want to see where they end up. What's her name? Well, whether it be the woman who works in the spy center, the guy, the little corporate official who messed up, whether it be the girl who worked with him on the heist. Right. I'd like to see what happens to those two characters. What happens to the antiques dealer? I want to see what happens to every. I'm like, I want to know. I want to know what happens to Mon Mothma and her family. It's like, I'm actually interested in knowing where all of these plot threads are going, just as much as I want to know where Cassian's, I want to see where his story's going. I want to see where their story's going.
And we've seen Rogue One, so we know where Cassian goes.
We know where it ends.
So, we know where it ends.
We know where it ends, but we don't know
how we get there.
Right. We don't know how we get there. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and even his intro in Rogue One, I always liked that scene because it was the first time ever seeing like the cyberpunk aspect of Star Wars, and ultimately, is this guy for real? Like, it's kind of interesting. He's unique right off the bat.
and then pretty much he's in the same situation. He's in the same boat there that he is in there.
He always finds himself in the middle of something.
He's like, I gotta get out of here.
I'm a rebel.
He's like, I gotta get away from the Empire. They're going to kill me. Yep.
And he keeps slipping through the cracks. So we'll see what happens with Cassian.
Well, either using underhanded techniques or like whatever he needs to do to get out of trouble. That's what he does. Yeah, that's definitely my top 5. If not, that might end up being, I don't know. It might be my number 1.
Really,
depending on how it plays out.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. I like
because given the other shows, like I love The Mandalorian, but I think from production and acting standpoint, Andor's the better show. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to another great 950 Club After Hours special, part 1 of our whole encompassing Disney Plus discussion. And this section was the Star Wars discussion. So we highly recommend Star Wars Andor. It just had its finale, and hopefully we'll get our review of part 2 coming soon. It's going to come sooner than you know it. And of course, definitely check out Star Wars Visions, also on Disney Plus. And yes, it's a hidden gem. Not a lot of people talk about it, surprisingly. A lot of people like Cyberpunk Edge Runners. The studio that did it, Studio Trigger. Star Wars Visions is better. Their 2 little movies are better than the Edge Runners. I'm sorry. But nonetheless, please check Star Wars Visions out. And also, please like, subscribe, download, and share our podcast episodes of the 950 Club. Greatly appreciate it. We're also on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So thank you for listening in, and goodbye.